Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a video I've been anxiously waiting to make. I finally have the SRX. Here she is. She's back at the speed shop and we're going to get started on getting her ready for winter. I'm going to start the first video here. It's going to be a real simple one. It's going to be a quick one. I have a ton of work I want to do to this thing for this season. I got more hurricane goodies coming, all that good stuff. It's going to be really awesome. I have these straight line performance scratchers. Now I want to tell you before I get this video started, because I know what some people are going to say. I have 192 lake racers in this sled, or Hornets studs, so it really doesn't get hot on me. I've never ran scratchers on any of my sleds I've had. They've always been picked. One thing I will say though is when it's super cold in the morning and the trail's packed really tight, if you stop or you're in a slow moving group, I have had the temperature creep up and I've had to get off the trail and get into the powder a little bit to cool her down. So I'm going to just put these scratchers on as like a kind of a last resort thing. If I really got to drop them down, I'll drop them down, but I don't plan on really riding with them down. So I want to put these on as clean and as neat as possible. I've been on some Facebook groups and stuff. A guy gave me some really great pictures of how he mounted his, and I really liked it. I'm going to do a little bit different for the hangers on it, kind of my own thing. I'll see how it looks. If I don't like it, we'll change them. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to go ahead and get this video started, and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do it, lay a tape measure out, show you where I'm going to drill the holes in the rails, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's not your machine, but I know it'll work. Alright, I wish I knew the guy's name, but here's the picture, in case you're going to be doing this at home, of how I'm going to set it up. It was really awesome that the guy did that for me. So I'm going to get the tape measure laid out here, and we're going to mark and knock a couple holes and get them put on. You can see I got my tape measure here going from like the middle of the rearest front bogey wheel. And I'm going to mark it at 5.5. And we're going to start there. Now what I am going to do is I want it to be somewhat centered. So I got my mark at 5.5, and then I'm going to measure between here and the top, which is going to be 1.5 inches. We'll divide that by 2, which should be, I believe, 3/4. Don't quote me, I'm not the best at math. And then we'll drill a hole. We'll get the scratcher mounted, and we'll figure out, these are the little hooks I'm thinking of using. I'm not 100% positive. So let me get that marked, get a nice hole drilled in there, and we'll get it on and see what we got. Okay, I kind of changed my plan. The reason being is where this scratcher is going to sit, if I go 5.5 back from that center wheel, the clip is going to be right where that bump stop is. I don't really like that. So I think I'm going to bring it back right here and drill right here. I'm hoping. That's the plan anyway. Then it'll be over here for when it's sitting back in the holder. I think that'll be best. I don't want to put another hole above this hole, risk that cracking. So I think mounted back here might be better. I'm not sure, I'm still debating. So we'll see what we wind up with. Alright, I winded up bringing it back where the scratcher is going to go. So if you measure about the middle of this wheel, you're going to be about 5.25, 5 inches. I want it to be in the more thicker part here between these two. So we're going to go right about here. Hopefully you guys can see this. And then what I like is these I have here. If I take the bolt out of the bump stop, I got to get a longer bolt or longer bolt on these, but this will go right through the bump stop, so I can utilize the bump stop hole, and then they'll tuck up just like this. I don't want to use this lower hole, be too close to my track for my comfort. So let me get it drilled out and get it on, and I'll just show you guys real quick how it's going to look. Obviously I got to get the proper hardware, but we're going to get a little punch to get this started. These bolts are calling for a 3/8 hole, so I'll get that drilled. Now once you go through your whole drawer of dulled out drill bits and find a 3/8 that cuts worth a damn. There you go. The bolt should slip through. I'm gonna have to get a little bit bigger of a drill bit. That one might not quite be a 3/8, and then we'll get them bolted on. I don't want the lock washer cutting into the back of my rail, so I'm going to put a washer between the lock washer and the rail, which should work fine, especially with red Loctite on here. So that's how it's going to sit on the back of the rail. It'll all collapse in, obviously. Now the next thing they mention in this is they want you to Loctite everything. They want you to Loctite your tips. They want you to Loctite right in here, and make sure you Loctite the bolt that goes into the rail on your sled. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and I'll show you what they look like on. Your tips on the end of here are going to be 7/16. Pull them out, get your Loctite on. Put these in here. Now you're going to have to put this in the vise, put a cloth or something so you don't scratch the hell out of it, and tighten it down. These are Mark II left and right hand, so make sure you're putting them on the right side. We'll get them all adjusted and everything before I Loctite this piece in. So let me get it tightened up. The bolts that hold the scratcher on the rail are going to be 9/16. Make sure you go tight with them. You do not want these coming loose. So we'll go ahead and tighten her up. Get her. There should be a flat spot somewhere or something to be able to grip onto these. You definitely want to make sure they're angled down, but you don't want them too far down. Like this one wants to rotate. So I'm going to get probably a big pair of channel locks to hold it. Shouldn't say big, but decent size. Hold it from rotating while I'm tightening it. That's pretty tight, guys. So that's how they'll sit, just like that. All right, now we can stick the tip in here. The end of it. Back your nut all the way back. See how many turns we got to go to get her straight. So we back her down here like this. And then you're going to take your jam nut and you're going to tighten it up real tight. So let me get the jam nut tight. It's going to be looks like a 9/16. Yep. And I got to get something to hold this with. Another 9/16. I really like these scratchers. These are nice. Straight Line Performance did a nice job on these. I think they were 80 or 90 bucks at the snow show. Go tight on that. She doesn't come loose. There you go. Now you're scratching. So, to wrap this video up, you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Let me get my tape measure and tell you how far they are back. So you go from about the middle of that wheel. I'm sitting at about 5 1/4. And you can see how it looks. Hopefully the camera, I'll bring it in for you guys. You can see exactly how they look close up. Sorry it's not very bright in here. And that's how they're going to sit. Now, show you what the plan is. I got to run up to the Menards and get some stainless steel eye bolts. These aren't long enough, the threads on these. So you're going to need, here's the bolt. These are 1/4-20s, I should mention. And they will fit right in the hole of the rail where your bump stop is. You're going to need, these are about an inch and 3/4. So and these I got are only about 1 1/8 inch. So you're gonna need 1 3/4 long eye bolt, stainless steel, and you're gonna put it through here, through your stock bump stop. This is my plan anyway, guys. Nobody said I'm perfect. And then your scratcher, boom, will sit right in there just like that. See how nice that is? It's locked in tight. it's gonna be perfect. If I need to bring these back, I can adjust them back a little bit, but those should ride in there pretty well. I think what I might do is bring this out just a hair. I'm gonna turn my hooks just a little bit. You can see I got this adjusted now. So now I'll go ahead and I'll tighten up the nut right where that sits, where I like it. Get your nuts nice and tight on these so they don't turn on you while you're on the trail, and it'll just lay right in there like that. I don't think that's gonna come out. I really don't. And if it does, like I said, I'm not gonna use these that much. I'll just put a zip tie on them. So I want to say thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to get some longer stainless steel eye bolts. Next, we're going to be getting into the chain case. We're going to be changing the clutch on this, oil change, injectors, boost controller, different flash, 4-bar map sensor. I'm going up a little bit this year, guys, so every year I put a few grand into it, we'll just say that. But yeah, it's going to wrap up the video. It's a quick one. I want to say thanks for watching. Stay tuned and hit subscribe.